Hey, hey. Ay, 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 ay. What's going on? Welcome. I'm coming in hot from softball practice. I literally just left the field like 20 minutes ago. So, wore my Book Girl Magic tee to practice. So,
I need to get me one of the t-shirts. Can we
yeah,
still order them?
they're still, I'll send you the link. They're still for sale. My cousin just bought one the other day, but yeah, they're still out there. Hey, Asia.
Hey y'all.
Telling everybody I was just coming in from softball practice, like literally just walked through the door like 5 minutes ago.
I just got off another call like 2 minutes ago.
Man, it's chaos. We have a huge tournament that we're leaving for in Tennessee tomorrow. We leave tomorrow, so we're trying to get our last minute practices in and all kinds of stuff. I'm excited about this discussion though. Got Kimberly on here.
Hey, I made it just in
Right.
time.
Look, I made it. Hilarious. I'm just giving it a couple more minutes for people to hop on. I know Jess planned. I think Jess planned on coming.
That's. Can you see me? I'm on as Emily LeBeau. I forgot to change.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's you.
That's me. I'm accidentally on the Junior League account. Hey y'all.
I need you to change your name though. Just kidding. Hilarious.
I'm about to. So we switched accounts recently. So the new president-elect has her name on the president-elect account. So I need to change.
I got you.
I saw the name Emily. I was like, uh-oh, a white thing got in.
Right. It's not the first time. Yeah, I don't know how many others are coming, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Just say that we are talking about Memorial Drive by Natasha Trethewey. So a little quick story. My daughter was getting her hair braided, if y'all saw my post in the group, but my daughter was getting her hair braided in Stone Mountain, and I had last week when I was reading the book, like I actually screenshotted the address to the apartment because I was like, at some point I'm going to this place, right? I didn't think it would be today. But I actually went up to the apartment. I put the address in the GPS, found what I thought to be the apartment, like it said in the description, I guess, from the police report that she gathered so many years later. So there I was standing in front of 18D. At first I thought it was 18A, and I like got out of the car to like go take a picture of it, and a girl like came out of that very apartment, and I was just like, I was spooked. I was like, oh, let me go sit down real quick. But then I looked back at the screenshot of the text in the book, and I was like, oh, it's 18D. So when I looked up from my car, I was literally parked right, and it was perfectly. It was on the second floor. I was parked right in front of it. So I thought that was pretty cool to see the apartment. I don't know how much of it's changed, if that's still, but that's where the GPS, when I put the exact address in, that's where it took me to. So I was able to take pictures of the apartment and the outside of it, and take pictures with the book. And then the neighbors were looking at me crazily. So I was like, let me get out of here right quick. So yeah, that was pretty cool to be able to go
Isn't it crazy to live in a place that you know something like horrific happened there? I mean, something bad happened in everybody's house, maybe, but
and it made me think about that. Like, how many people live in an apartment and have no clue of what the history of that apartment is? And when I thought I had the right apartment the first time, like I looked at the girl and I'm like, do you have any idea? Luckily, it was the wrong apartment that she came out of. But I was like, I was thinking in my head, like, do you have any idea the history that like there's a whole
but imagine
book.
If you told her and she's like,
spooked, right? Spooked. Or
Amityville
knowing that her
Horror.
neighbor. You know what would have been cool? To maybe like just drop the book on the front of their just drop it on their doormat and be like, see you
No,
later.
ma'am, not
Yeah,
cool.
right.
You would have freaked them out.
Especially somebody who doesn't want to know that, right? Like
Right.
who's living in peace in their house and doesn't want to know that. And I also went back to look at one of the other pictures that I took because I just remember vividly her talking about the husband hiding in the bushes, right? And when I left, I was like, oh shit, I really didn't like take in the scene of where he could have been hiding in those bushes. But then one of the pictures that I took, it had bushes kind of like, because where that apartment is, there's like a wall, it's at the wall. So you can kind of hide, but there's bushes right there that like, yeah, he definitely could have hidden behind. It was very interesting. I was real nervous going up to that though. I was just like, oh, these neighbors are looking at me like they know I probably don't live here. Like, what are you doing? You know, everybody knows everybody. There's a dude like sitting on the porch, like on the apartment right underneath it. And you couldn't see him around the bushes, but then eventually, like, as I'm trying to move my car and I'm in a tight space and really can't get out, he starts to like stand up and moves over to like this stairwell. So he's just standing there like watching me try to get out of this little tiny ass parking lot. I'm like, oh my God, please just get me out of here. I'm making the neighbors feel suspicious about my whereabouts. Probably think I don't know what they think. Could be said. And maybe it's happened to them before where they've had people who've read this book just come and just, that would also be interesting to know if they know the history of that apartment. Anywho, enough of my babbling. General overall thoughts on the book? I will say that I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star for me. I try not to do too many heavy books and stuff but I felt like this was a necessary one to read. So I was actually very glad that I incorporated it into our monthly reads.
I agree. I enjoyed it as well. I would say also I appreciate the flow of the book itself. Although she was able to go back and share some things from her memory, I appreciate the flow, and it wasn't confusing to me. It was a very easy read.
Yes. Yeah, very quick too. I listened to the audio. She narrates it if y'all didn't know that, but yeah, it was very easy and quick to get through.
Yeah, I love it too. You can tell she's a poet because of the way it was written.
Beautifully written.
Like it was beautifully written. Like it's a sad story, but it was beautifully written.
That's when you know someone is an amazing author, because as sad as the stuff was that she was talking about, the language was so beautiful. It was just like, how this is my second time.
I was gonna say, I know a few of you read it for the second time. Was it anybody's first time reading it? It was mine.
It was my first time.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
It was my first time as well.
Yeah, my
That was
first time as
beautiful.
well.
Yeah, I never heard of it until you
Put it on. Yeah.
Same.
It was between that and is it The Yellow House? Which may be another book club pick, not this year, but
That's a good one too. It's another.
Yeah, I was going back and forth because I know they're both great reads. I think that one's based in Louisiana, The Yellow House.
Yeah, New Orleans.
Yeah, so I was going back and forth. So that'll probably be on our list for next year.
But she had a little Louisiana sighting in this one too, and I had forgotten all about that part that they had lived in.
I did too. I forgot about that.
She was talking about Gotcha and D.H. Holmes. I was like, that was the stores. Those were the best stores we ever had. They're all gone now.
Did anybody? So I find, like, I love true crime. I love anything that deals with that. Snapped. You put me like any kind of television shows, all of that stuff. Like I love watching true crime. TV shows, Netflix series, whatever. So I find when I read stuff like this and I get really invested, I go down this rabbit hole of like researching. Did anybody else try to research this? The crazy part is, other than what Natasha has put out, you really can't find much on it, because I was trying to find the stepdad. Like, I know he was released and I think I found maybe one article on him, but it really I wanted to kind of know where he's at in life. Like I was more intrigued to hear about like what he's doing in life. Like I would love to hear more of his story.
That's a little crazy. And you find out he's your neighbor? No.
I was wondering, like, when he got out, if he ever tried to like apologize to her, or
And that's I'm trying to see, like, did he get, I would love to see where he was at now in life and what maybe even her relationship, if there is one. It would be very hard for me to have a relationship with someone that did that to my mom.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see
Um,
her having a relationship with him.
You can't
You know,
even be
so-
What her
say nothing
brother's
nasty to my
relationship with
mama
him
and
is.
sent me to talk to you. So if you
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
I was
wondering
trying to
what the
Google him.
relationship is with the brother, because it's
Right.
actually his
I
father.
wondered that too.
Mhm.
So I was like, like, do you contact this person that's your father that murdered your mother? Like, what's their relationship like?
Yeah, and the interesting part that so many of them believe that that was his child and not her child with him. Like, I know Natasha
That
as a
was
child
baffling.
believed that, but I think she said her grandmother too.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
I didn't understand
So
that.
I'm like, where were you
Yeah, I
hiding that
got
you were
lost.
pregnant for 9 months and nobody knew that,
Right. And it sounds
Well,
like she's a
she-
petite
she
woman.
was in
So I'm like,
Atlanta.
Yeah,
she was
Yeah,
like,
she was in Atlanta and they were in wherever,
somewhere
in
else.
Mississippi, I think.
Yeah.
But it was only like a summer, right? At
Yeah.
least that's the way I understood it. That
Must
she
have
was
been a
only
little
there
longer than a
summer.
summer.
But she's already pregnant for maybe 3 to 5 months before she really starts showing.
Yeah.
So she could hide it for, a
Yeah,
summer, which is
especially
what
from a
she
little kid.
Yeah.
And if you remember,
It's
there
strange
was
that
a
her mom
part of
didn't
the
know.
there was part of the book where she said that when her mom she's reading her mom's journal or something that her mom has written. I think
It was on the
yeah, it was
piece of
something
paper that was in her
where-
briefcase. Yeah.
It was basically where the mom said that she really did not love that man. So there probably was some shame behind, like, dang, I done got pregnant by this man who I
Man,
that
no
makes
intentions of really being with.
Yep.
This is what is keeping me anchored to him. So yeah, she probably did not, while she may have, I'm sure she loved her son. It's probably a lot of regret behind the child being what kind of anchored her into that relationship for as long as she was in it.
Curious question for y'all. Maybe I missed this in my reading, but did they ever disclose the race of her stepfather?
Number of incidents that you may have.
Do y'all recall that? Because I know when I looked him up,
remember.
I was thinking that he was another white man at first, and then when I was looking up his pictures, I was like, oh, he's a black
No, I
dude.
automatically assumed
Thinking
he was
white
black
girl- I
from the
think
beginning.
something in the book says he's black. Did he have an afro?
Does it?
Yeah, it's a description.
So then there could have
Yeah.
been descriptors, because
Yeah,
I was
it
like
was a
looking,
description of him.
and I
And I
just
think
wasn't
it
sure
was-
because her dad is white.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when I started to Google and go down this rabbit hole, like there was a picture that popped up for me, and I was like, oh, okay,
I think
and it looks like she maintains a relationship with her dad now as an adult too, because I saw plenty when I Googled her, there was plenty of pictures with her dad.
Yeah,
now.
so her dad has
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
I thought he passed away as well.
He did in 2014 or 15 or something
Okay.
like
I
that.
think it was,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because when she went to the medium, it was fresh. That
Yeah.
it was around like 20.
That's right, because she was trying to see like how she wasn't trying to disclose that information because she was skeptical.
Mhm.
On my rabbit hole, she posted on her IG, and she's not really that active, that she was working on a memoir that's based on her relationship with her dad that at that time is supposed to be released in 2025. So
Oh, wow.
who knows if she's still working on that, but that was on her Instagram.
That would be interesting.
Wow.
Because it's like he was there, but he wasn't there. Like,
Yeah.
and I just
At one
felt
point, I'm like,
so-
what happened to this man? It's like he was there, but then it's like he disappeared.
as soon as they like divorced
Yeah.
or whatever, he just was like done.
Like he didn't even
Uh,
check in on her. Like nothing. It was just he was gone.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's part of the husband keeping her away from her.
Yeah, I think there was a relationship because remember I'm sorry, Topeka,
You good.
remember she said that she was trying to go on some class trip and her dad was willing to pay half.
Half of it.
And that,
Yes.
yeah, and saying that her dad would have been if the stepfather was what blocked her from being able to go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the mom putting her foot down finally. So I
Right.
felt, yeah. But then again, I know there was a lot of stuff that she didn't necessarily know, like how he treated her when she was
At work.
at work and things like that. Like that's just such a horrible state to like pretend that you're sleeping until your mom comes out. Like,
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
She knew a
The
little bit
bathroom,
of
you
it
get up
though.
and use the bathroom. You got to like stay in the bed. Yeah, that was awful.
She knew a little of it because she wrote it on the pad where she said, you know, how did she say it? She said like basically that he was picking on her.
Mhm.
I can't remember. She said, I know he thinks I love my daughter more than I love our son, but I also know how he treats her when I'm not around.
But when did she finally tell her mom? Because didn't she finally tell her at some point?
Her mom read it in her journal, didn't she?
No,
No,
the
the stepdad
stepdad read
did.
the journal.
Stepdad read it, that's
Because
right.
she was
Yeah.
like, you motherfucker.
Oh, that was
Right.
the best
Was it-
part to me. I was
when-
like,
Got it right
that is
this
when they
so
went on
genius.
a walk, wasn't it right before she was about to leave to
He
go to the
killed her.
women's shelter?
Yeah.
Well,
And they
you're right.
went on a walk. I thought she told her then that he
did.
tortures me when you're not home.
Oh, I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
But it took her a while. Yeah.
Right.
To the police officer that was supposed to be like on duty or whatever the night that the mom ended up getting murdered.
I need to know
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
For real.
That pissed me
Yeah.
off. Like you leave early
Yeah.
just because you don't care about our demographic, that you're just gonna be like, oh, they're good. And then for him to come hours later, like
Okay,
Crazy.
here's an interesting fact. So I tried to go down a rabbit hole, and I found a news report from when it first happened, or when the trial was going on, one or the other. And it said that she told the police officer she was good and he could leave. So I'm like, something's not right, because the daughter is saying he just left, and this article is saying that, you know, she told the police officer she was good,
could
she'd
go.
be fine
They
until
may-
morning.
He
He
probably
could go.
lied.
you know how
There's
officers
only
are.
one person
They're
who knows the truth.
he's protecting
Exactly.
himself.
Right,
He's
because he's not
protecting
going to
himself.
make himself look bad.
It's
you know?
probably written in the report to protect himself because he wasn't supposed to leave, and she died at the hands, at his hands, basically, of leaving early. So of course they're going to protect themselves like they always do, and write some BS in there to make them seem like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah, I have to find it so you guys can read it too. I didn't want to post it before everyone read the book.
yeah, no, please post that.
Yeah, I'll
'cause-
find it.
He is the only one who knows exactly.
Mhm.
I was just
Yeah.
looking and found something about the brother. Somebody asked about her relationship with her brother.
Yeah.
She wrote an article about him. Well, it was about Hurricane Katrina, because her brother ended up like being caught up in Hurricane Katrina.
I saw a
Oh,
picture of him, I
okay.
think, attached to that
But-
article, but I didn't read it.
Same article, she was saying that he grew up with his with her, I guess it's the maternal grandmother. So
Okay.
grandmother. And how he just had to keep starting over. Like Katrina was like the third time, and she's like, he, was there when her mother got murdered. So I guess they had a relationship, because she's writing about him and everything that he's gone through in his life. So
Yeah, now that you mention it, Kim, I vaguely remember that maybe the brother was in and out of trouble a little bit in his adult life.
probably she's saying here that he at one point he took over the family business, and then something happened to that. No, it doesn't say that he was in prison or anything. Just that he just had a rough life. Like every time he, I guess, gets on his feet, something happens. And this article is more about Katrina and him having to start over.
Gotcha.
I mean, I can imagine him having a rough life. Like he lost both of his parents essentially at the same time.
Yeah.
One was murdered by the other, and the other's in jail. So what can you do? And he was how many years younger than her?
He was there?
Yeah, he was there. The father.
Oh, he was the
went
one that
and-
looked out the window and said, "Mom got in the car," or was that a different
Yeah.
occasion?
That was a different one. That was the
Around the
first
same
time
the
he,
days, like the
took her.
days were close together when that happened. But
Right.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
he
he was
he
leading up to
went
that.
and picked the son up from school, and that's how he opened the door or had the key or whatever. So the son saw right after she was shot. He was there.
Oh,
I gotta find this
It
news
was at the
article.
apartment. It was at the apartment. So I mean, he
Yeah.
been there.
He lived there. Where else was he gonna
Yeah,
be?
that's why I'm like he
Yeah.
probably lived there. He probably did see it.
how smart was she to think on her feet? Like at that point when he had her in the bedroom, and she was like, someone knocked at the door, and she knew it was the police, but she was like, it's the maintenance man. If I don't open this door, they're gonna come in
Right.
anyways. I'm like, man, to think on your
The
feet like that, like
reading
that
of
was
that
Because
report,
I would have never thought of that. I would have died.
exactly. Yeah, same. I
That had
wouldn't
me
have either.
stuck. I had to stop it. I had to stop. Like the reading of that particular report from
Yeah.
that kidnapping, I was like my chest, my anxiety. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so. Like I felt there. It was heavy.
The detail in those call reports.
Yes. I'm
I
so
was like,
glad that
oh
she
my
included
God.
that though. Like,
Me too.
Yeah.
I know she was going back and forth, but it was so important to hear those words.
Yeah.
And like, I honestly would love to have heard. It would have been interesting. I know it probably would have been creepy for her, but if she actually had the recording to like just play it in the audiobook.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I know it would have been a lot though, right? But
Yeah.
like, if she had it, that would have been an interesting twist.
Going back to the brother, do y'all remember? I thought they mentioned that he was in counseling or some type of therapy at some point. I don't remember when. I don't know if it was after they had gone to the shelter for that little while. Does anybody else remember that? Because when we were talking about the brother, or
She
maybe
did
I
in
that
therapy.
he was in therapy at one point.
Yeah, she did say that. But she said very, very little about the brother. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
like chapters later. But I do remember that he was in therapy too.
All of them should have been in therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this man was torturing them all, I guess,
Yeah.
to some
And the
degree.
fact that he just kept finding them, like,
Right.
and I mean,
That's
I
when I
guess
was
if he-
like, oh, why she didn't go back to Mississippi? Like,
and that's what I'm saying. She
please.
didn't move far enough for me. Like, if your daughter's still going to the same high school, like,
Right,
he's
that's
gonna
right.
find her and follow her.
Right.
Like,
Which
it's
he
a
did. He
given.
went to the game and was like,
And
Yeah.
when she was talking about how he came to like the track
The
meet or
football
came to the
game,
school, I was
yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what is
And
this
then,
man
like,
doing?
because she was so nice to him, like, he spared her life.
Right.
yeah, that's
I feel like there's a statistic that says it's more like your life is more in danger when you leave as a domestic violence victim than when you're actually
In
like
it.
still in the
I would
situation.
believe that because I feel like if you're so close to them, they feel like they have like more of the control. And I feel
Yeah.
like if you're moving away, it's like, okay, like who the hell does she think she is?
And
Now
once
we're
they
gonna touch her, you
Exactly.
know?
Like once you leave the situation, that's when they then start saying, well, you're not gonna live without me, right?
Right. And that's exactly when too, like when you have decided to leave and holding that line tight and being very intentional but quiet about your moves that you're making. That's what they suggest, like slowly prepare to make the leave, because the minute they find out you're leaving, they're gonna.
All right. I'm like, all hell gonna break loose. And then you're never gonna be able to leave, you know? But
That's
or
why I
the
can understand
rage
why.
comes.
That's why I can understand why she agreed to the plan of him bringing the little boy home from school. I'm like, he just told you on this phone 30 times he gonna kill you.
right.
And you like,
Probably
okay,
honestly
well,
had
tell the
no-
little boy you're gonna bring him home.
You know what
He
I was
probably
wondering?
had
I was
no
wondering, like,
choice.
maybe
I
she
just
thought that
saved
if
no
the
boy.
kid was there, that he wouldn't do anything. If the
No,
son was
because
there?
he said on the phone, she said, so
Oh,
you
but
would do
he
this
would-
and your son is here. He said, well, sacrifices have to be made.
That is
And
true.
when he said that, I was
Right.
like,
Yeah, like, oh no. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, oftentimes there's not much you can even do. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know a lady who was killed by her husband. They were separated. He still had
Still
custody
have rights, exactly.
because they wanted the children. The judge didn't want the children, wanted consistency for the children. So she had moved out. The sister was the intermediary. When it was her time to go back to the marital home to visit the children, the sister would come, the husband would leave, then the wife would come, would visit with the kids, and she would leave. The husband would come back. One night he came back while she was still there. He killed her, then he killed himself in front of his two
Wow.
children.
Yeah, because just
Wow.
because you are violent to the mom, that does not mean an automatic taking away of your parental rights.
Children.
Unless
Right.
you have been violent to the children. So that's where another layer where you leave and you're even more in danger, or you're still in danger even though you left, because legally you still have to have contact with them in some way because of your kids, because they
And
have
that was
their rights.
that was the thing I felt about that case, that I knew that girl personally, because I felt like, why would you make her go back into the home that he leaves in? Even if he leaves, what's stopping him from coming back
Right,
just like
right.
he did? and did it right in front of his boys and then killed himself. It's like, why would you chance that he would come back? You know, he didn't know where she was, but he knew where she was when she was in his house, in their house. And he came back.
I'm on a brief break from work, so I'm going to interject right here real quick. But Jessica, I agree with what you just said, because that's how, like what you said, he knew where she was at in the house. That's how my stepsister was murdered by her abusive boyfriend, her and her 2-year-old daughter, because he got them to come back to the house. And so when I was reading this book, that was a trigger for me, because when I heard that she was going back to the house, I just started crying. Because even though I knew what was going to happen, I started crying because I was like, it's about to happen. He getting her to come back to the house. She letting her guard down. Don't go back to the house. Don't go back to the house. And then it happened. So this was a good book. It was very triggering for me. I was glad I finished it in one day. I don't think I could reread it again, but it was very good.
I think it was good, but that transcript that they read at the end, I didn't like it. It just really got to me. I didn't like that back and forth. Plenty of times I was like, why are you engaging him in this
and that was me too. Like, why aren't I guess
I'm like, hang up already. Like,
well, for me, I felt like
she
she continued to engage him because she was trying to get as much evidence to
she needed
get
evidence.
the restraining order against him. So she kept like, well, why would you do that? Don't you think that if you love me, you should spare my life? Like, she was, trying to get him to admit that he's trying to kill her.
Like she basically got him and said, yeah, I'm going to kill you. Like, I mean, because
I
I
probably
what
not
she was
to
trying to
keep
do.
him from getting overly upset.
So
with
many
her.
times how he spun sacrifices have to be made. And she's like, but what about your
It's no big
children? And he's like, well,
like,
that's
well,
just
till death do us part. And like, sir, really?
He's basically like, oh, the kids will be all right. Like, you gotta die.
When we don't go,
like, they'll recover,
that
they'll
is
be okay.
easy to
Like,
see
your
that
parents are gonna die and you're gonna get over that. So like, basically, all right, the kids are gonna get over it. Like, sad.
No, when he was like, my mom put up with my dad, so you should be able
put up with me.
to put up
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, that was, Oof.
Yeah, and
That was a
I'm
rough
sure
one.
his parents were of a different time, but I mean, this was still happening in the 80s, right? Like,
yeah, this was 85.
The case was 87.
85. Yeah,
So-
I think it happened in 85.
Yeah, it happened in 85.
I kept thinking I was 15 when this happened.
I mean, he was a true psycho. He drew a picture of her face, what it would look like if he cut her. Like, everything about him was just like, you are one crazy motherfucker.
that whole bedroom
Right.
scene had me creeped out. Like,
From the jump. So I'm like, how come I think I just didn't understand how she ended up falling for him.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, I don't know.
Like-
I didn't see the connection.
Yeah, I was like, I just wish I knew what it was, because I'm like, he had nothing and she had everything, and it just
Right.
didn't.
You
He
can have
kept
women who aren't.
He kept it at bay. You know,
Yeah.
he
I was
was
gonna say,
husband while they were dating, and then
But even
once
like
he got her.
she, I guess, made him go to technical school or
Right.
whatever, and I'm like, okay,
You have the
so
education.
you're having to make it to school,
Right.
Yeah, but you have the master.
You have
a master's
right.
degree?
Yeah, she did.
I don't
Does
understand
anybody
this at all.
does anybody recall the timeline between her first marriage and then this one? Like how
much time? No.
Yeah.
No,
Because that could be a part of it too. I know as someone who was newly divorced, like the dumb shit and the dumb people that I dated fresh out of there and the shit that I accepted then and won't
I was
accept
thinking
now,
that
like
too.
that's two different people. So I get
But
how
the
it
difference
could have happened.
the difference
Yeah.
is you didn't marry him.
So,
Listen.
but I mean,
I think she just had got pregnant. and she
It's
just-
highly unlikely that he showed her all of that before
But he
she
had to
married.
show her something, because you can't hide crazy that well.
Yes, you can. I've
Not
seen it.
Triggers. It's
But she
certain
got
triggers.
pregnant.
Yes,
She
you
got
can.
pregnant too.
Right.
Yeah, I think because she got pregnant.
I think that's
Oh,
more
yeah.
of it than
And then some
And she
people
probably
like
decided
projects.
to ignore the signs.
Yeah.
she
And some
had to
people
have
like
been more
projects. They
than
want to fix people. I
when
am
he
And
was
some
some
talking
people.
about
people,
like
wasn't she social
I said I
work
am
or
some
something?
people.
I
Keyword.
am. I used to be some people.
because he just seemed crazy from the jump. Like he was always talking about Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And
Keyword,
she
you
was
want
saying
some? Two
that
can
some
play
of the
that game
stuff was
project.
not from Vietnam. That was like you just made that up. But this is the daughter talking, not the mom. So I'm like, okay.
I know when she described his toes.
Yes,
I'm
she's
like,
like,
That was,
"This is
what was up with the
Vietnam."
That was
toes? Like,
hilarious. But she was like, he
Yeah.
blamed
More
everything
than
on Vietnam, but he was
everything was
blowing his feet like
Vietnam.
that.
And like when he started going through all these little like, can you draw, and like trying to draw stuff and send it back into this mail, whatever it was, and going through all these different careers or whatever. And I was like, why is this lady putting up with this? I don't even understand it. I just didn't understand it.
I
And he
would like
was
to actually
Dumb
jealous.
share.
things, man.
Yeah.
I
He
would
was
like to share this book with other young ladies though, because I'll tell you, I myself, when people can be very, very good at hiding crazy, I was actually engaged to someone like that, and he threatened my life one time, and I called my brother and told him. And when I tell you guys, it was over something so silly. It was, we were arguing on the phone, and I said, I'm going to hang up, and I hung up the phone on him. He called me back and said, if you ever hang up this phone on me again, I'll take your motherfucking life.
Oh,
Excuse my
God.
language, but that is what he
No, you're
said.
fine.
And I told my brother about it, and this is what my brother said to me, and it made me think about this book. My brother said, let me tell you something. There's a lot of women in the cemetery that did not believe what a man told them that he was going to do to them. So you
Yeah.
give him his ring back and anything else that you have, and don't ever speak to that man again. And I did that, and I'm so grateful. And it made me, again, think about this book and want to share this story with a lot of other younger women, because a lot of times young ladies, my youngest is 21, they don't take those words to heart.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. And I think about that all the time, even though it's the fictionalized version, but in What's Love Got to Do with It? When she's like, Jackie, it's okay, he's under a lot of stress. She's like, no. And I think sometimes we have been conditioned to take on the burden of, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have. What role did
Pushed
I play?
them to that point.
Son,
Yeah.
you played
Yeah.
no role in this.
Right.
You
It's
know?
that Savannah, he's a good man.
Got
He's
me
just in a bad situation.
Man, if her mama don't sit down somewhere, like,
Yeah, but he I mean, yeah, he was just a mess. I mean, he wasn't.
I never saw anything, ladies. I never saw anything that would have spooked me before I heard him actually say those words. So when I say some people are really good at hiding that,
yeah.
they can be very good at hiding those.
Good at hiding it. And then we've also been conditioned, because I've heard women say, I know women who've said, just like she did, I didn't love him, but I thought he'd be a good provider. Or I didn't love him, but whatever it is. And either coming from a situation where you didn't have a good provider, so you're like, well, I guess I should overlook these things because that's what I'm supposed to have.
Right.
That I say we, I don't think any of us on this call, like you said, you got the thing, but as we continue to not pump these things into young girls, and how we, they always tell us to stop telling girls if a boy hits you or something, oh, it's because he likes you.
Right.
No, stop telling them that. Stop
And if
telling
you
them.
think about, that was what, and probably the mid 70s when she met him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the trying to follow societal norms, right? So, okay, you get pregnant, you're already a single mom of one, and you were married to a white dude. So like she had already like bucked the system in some ways. She was like, I don't want to go through whatever, perception that people might put on me, and you fall into these traps. And remember, she, in the transcript of one of the transcripts, the mom said that she just figured, they would just stick it out till the son turned 18 and then do
right, yeah. And then she was gonna leave.
Yeah, she said, I got to year 8 and I said, I can't do this.
Yeah, she tapped out.
That's crazy. Not crazy of her, but just I see it. Like you said, it's the societal norms. But it was interesting to me how she went from, like you said, bucking the system, married to a white man, wanting to put it in the newspaper in the town in Mississippi. Which seems like such a very powerful position that she had been in, and taking control to this. That it was like the dichotomy of those two were amazing to me. That
when they said that she was what, like 5'7", 5'8", and 117 pounds, I said, oh my God. Like, just like how her body was literally breaking down from being with this man.
I'm intrigued to if this memoir with her dad about her dad comes out, because I really would love to hear, even maybe if they had a conversation on everything that happened, like how he felt, knowing that his daughter was going through this, that he really didn't seem like he had an active role in her life. And just she went through a lot. Like this man was tormenting her on a daily basis. I'm honestly surprised that it didn't go beyond what it did, as
Okay,
much as
look,
he
I
was.
thought I was like, am I the only one thinking this? Because I'm like, this man is putting her in this car, driving her around, and I just kept waiting for something else to happen. And I kept waiting and I kept waiting. And I was just like, all right, like I was over here like reading the book, and I'm like, I'm just getting so nervous for her. And thankfully it didn't happen, or it wasn't reported that it happened.
Yeah,
So,
that's why
I
I was
was
like,
gonna
is she
ask about that because I listened to the audiobook and I was like, did I miss something here? Because it felt like it happened, but she never mentioned it. But I felt
right?
like she said one time he came in her room and maybe went on top of her, and I was like, but I was so intrigued, like I didn't want to pause and go back, like I wanted to hear, but then she never
but I
mentioned it.
thought I thought I remember something about that too, that he went into her bedroom when she was sleeping.
Yeah,
She
and I was
pretended to be
bugging
this.
out?
She said that she would pretend to be asleep so he'd leave her alone, but sometimes that didn't stop him. He would still come in the room and like mess with her.
Just a minute.
right, but how?
But not in that sense. I think it was more so like, get up and do this, or you're gonna clean this, or
Yeah,
just
that's how I
tormenting and
took it.
her making her do stuff, not necessarily like on an abuse type level, but or sexual abuse, I guess I should say, but like he was just tormenting her in other ways that he could, but not necessarily in that manner, but would come in her room and like mess with her.
But I am grateful that it didn't go that route.
Yeah, right.
I mean, even though he was still a horrible person, but
I did think that eventually that was going to happen. But yeah.
Okay, it's not just me then.
No, because I was
No,
like,
I was thinking it too. I was like, wait a minute, these car rides and they just
and they're
ride
home
around.
alone.
Like, is he gonna pull this car over and jump in the back seat? Like, what's going on? But
he was home alone with him like a
yeah.
lot. So I definitely thought something was going to happen. Besides being, doing this other stuff.
I wonder if her mother ever because how he harassed and bothered the mother. Like, I wonder, did the mother ever think, okay, I'm leaving my kid home with this guy? Like, is he saying, at least, is he doing anything? I don't know. I don't know. I just feel, I mean, I know it was a different time and, but I'm just like, it's just so nervous to me to even think about leaving my daughter with a man that's not her father.
And
Especially
knowing how
if
he
the man
truly
has shown
felt about her.
tendencies to be abusive. You know what I mean?
And even when you would come to her to basically snitch on the daughter, like you need to tell her to do her hair or whatever. Yeah, right. And all that stuff. I was like, so you're still leaving her at home with him? Because
But I think at a certain point, the stepfather had a work schedule because she said that at a certain point she rarely saw him.
Right. When she got to like high school, I guess.
Yeah, I think maybe it was towards high school. I guess, when you decide to marry after you have kids with someone else, you have to accept that they are the parental figure in the house as well. So that's a catch-22, right?
Yeah,
So
it was rough. I mean, if he was like a regular, ordinary, nice guy, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, not to say that just because he presents as ordinary, nice guy doesn't necessarily mean he is, but it's like he was abusive towards you. Like,
right.
You wouldn't think that he would be the same type of way towards your kid that's not his child. I don't know. It was.
I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with the time frame too, because I know my cousin's mom, she finally revealed that she was being abused. I don't know, like now we're getting a little bit further away from like, this is not the normal, this should not be happening. But I think like back then it was kind of like, you don't say anything, you know what I mean? Like you just kind of went along with it, which is unfortunate because that's how the way so many of them were able to die.
Yeah, I know a lady, I mean, she didn't die, but she said she used to sleep on the couch because she knew that her husband was going to want to fight when he walked in the door. She didn't want the fight to be in the back. So she just waited on the couch for the beating because the kids were in the back. So she just left on the couch because she knew he would come in drunk and ready to fight.
Wow.
And she said when she left him, the people that moved her, they had stopped at a gas station, like in a van. She did like the whole, I'm gonna go while he's at work kind of thing. Well, I guess he was lying about being at work. She said when they were pulling in the gas station to gas up the van to take her away, she saw him pulling out in his car with a woman in the car. She's like, what? I mean, you know, she knew all of that. She's like, okay, this is just the sign that I needed.
Right. Yeah.
Not that she needed the beatings and everything else. She's like, I mean, he's even lying to me about where,
Right.
as I'm leaving, he's not at work, he's with her. You can keep beating her, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right.
Or start beating her, because he probably wasn't beating that one at the time.
And then, you know, we always thinking about like how the system fails us. And she mentioned that when she called the shelter and she told them what was happening, they just didn't give the right response. And you think, I know, like as a teacher, this is all the time. Like, okay, this is not what we need to be doing. But you just think about how like so many things could have came into play. She talked about changing the trajectory. Like if she would have just spoke up, maybe her mom would have had the courage to leave. And you know, that's hard to have to live with. Because it's like, what happened if you would have spoke up?
Yeah.
What happened to him killing himself? That's what kind of pissed me off.
They never do. They got to take you with them.
You're gonna go with me.
they
You're gonna
do.
die together, and you're still living.
It
They
sounded
are
like
so-
he was getting ready. Well, they said there was a gun in the hotel room, right?
Yeah,
Like
he was gonna
he
kill
said he
him.
was
Yeah.
going to.
He
He
was a
just
coward.
He was
He hadn't
full, he was
gotten
full of
around to
shit.
it yet.
Excuse my language, because if he really wanted to do it, as soon
Well,
as he
right.
went to the hotel room, he would just did his business.
On
Like
some
he
could've done it
Romeo and
right there
Juliet.
after.
even thinking about stuff. Like
Done it at the apartment complex. Like kill her,
Exactly.
kill you. Like, I mean, he
Exactly.
wasn't planning on killing himself.
Do it
He
now.
was just so delusional. Like when he was like, you lied to the people and told them I stabbed you with the needle. And she was like, but you did.
oh yeah.
And then
Didn't he say
and
something
so
like, but it
Like
didn't,
the
you're just
story.
laying up against your skin, it didn't puncture your
But
skin.
that's
I'm
what
like,
I'm saying. Like he would spin everything. He was like, "Yeah, I stabbed you, but I didn't like, inject you with
Or
it."
go
Like he
all the
would
way
spin
in.
everything.
Mhm.
That whole phone
That is really
conversation,
crazy.
He's crazy.
he would
He had,
spin everything.
I think that's
I
why
mean-
she kept talking to him too, to make sure that okay, he's spinning.
Y'all
things,
see all the
so I
crazy.
want you to get all of
Yeah.
this.
Mhm.
Plus, if I talk to him, maybe he'll calm down.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, but he had
really
serious mental health
PTSD.
issues.
He did.
The
PTSD.
fact that they were letting him sign himself out, it's like, who assessed this man?
Right.
Why was he not? I
Mhm.
mean, and then I had to realize, because first I thought I was listening, that she was reading tapes, but then I realized these were transcripts. So I'm like, why is it somebody busting in there? I mean, maybe I watched it with
Right.
TV, but like, why is anybody not helping right now? And he had been in and out of treatment from what I could tell in the book, and it's like so many people failed this family.
It's like that today. I remember, I
Mhm.
don't know if you guys follow the YouTuber Funky Dineva. Hilarious.
Love Funky
Yeah.
Dineva.
But when he talks about his brother who has mental health issues, he's talked about how they can only hold them but for so long. Like so much stuff has to happen to put someone in an institution long term.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
if
because
it's
they're
like that
Well, they have to be
today,
a
my
threat
God, it
to
has to have been worse back
themselves.
then.
A threat to themselves or somebody else. But Funky Dineva's brother, I don't know the specific situation, but this man certainly seems like they had enough. I mean, at least the way it's outlined in the book, that he was definitely a threat to somebody else.
In 85 or in
Yeah.
2023?
Look, I don't know the
Because I
movement, the
think-
Baker Act. Well,
I think
well,
the
that's
evidence
Florida.
was in that transcript, but then shortly afterwards
Is when
Right.
when he
Like, what was
yeah.
it, like 2
So-
days later? It was-
Yeah.
it was soon. So he probably was on his way,
yeah.
but there wasn't enough time. She probably
Yeah.
could, if she had done that sooner. I mean, I don't know, but
Didn't she have a
LaShawn
restraining order
asked,
against him?
does anyone know how the police/investigative process has changed since then? I was upset with all that she needed to do to prove the abuse. I agree with that too, though. Like, well, we need to know that he really is threatening you, and we need to have X, Y, and Z.
Based on news stories that we see today, the exact same thing still happens. Like, it is not easy to get someone put in jail. Like, will they give you a restraining order? Maybe, yeah.
I'm
But
trying to think of, I was watching something recently, and maybe y'all have seen it too, but it was a documentary or something about rape victims and how they were being accused of lying, and then they were arrested. Like the cops would spin it on the victim and then convince them or get them to like basically retract their statement, or even though the victim knew it happened, somehow would say, well, maybe it did, just would
There's
kind
a
of retract their
doc.
statement. And then the police would arrest them for like a false
Yeah.
reporting, a false report.
Is it
I
on
just watched something
Netflix
on
or
Yeah,
that.
I saw that.
Peacock? There's a documentary on something. I've seen
Mhm.
the advertisement, but it's on one of the
Yes, it's
streaming
on one of
channels.
those channels because I just watched it like last week or something, and it just made me think of that, like the victims again having to prove themselves and their situation, and that this really happened. It's like, well, are you sure? And yeah, it was an interesting documentary on that and how many victims have gone to jail for being accused of a false report. But there's a series of like there's different stories and different women, and it follows each of their stories.
Do you
So
know what
it's
it's called?
interesting. I will find it because it's like
Yeah,
on like Katrina said, it's on one of those stations that I just recently watched it. I'll find it. Maybe it's Hulu. I'll find it because I just watched it.
yeah, I saw it
I
too.
think it's Hulu.
Well, I don't know. I know like about 10 years ago, because the relationship that I had with my son's father was just terrible, to the point where I knew if I didn't get out, either he was going to kill me or I was going to kill him, and one of us would have been in jail. But I remember one time when we did call the police, and I mean, like, they did not even listen to anything we had to say. It was, oh, you both came at each other, and then you both can go to jail. And it was like, wait a minute, you ain't even hear, how what he did. So I don't know in terms of like how processing, if anything, changed, but I know where I live, like they're not even listening to who was the initiator or anything. It's like, okay, we're going to just take both parties.
Yeah, and I thought that's what you were going to say, is that a lot of times, like maybe the guy will say, oh, well, she hit me and, whatever. And then it just cancels everything out, and then the police just leave.
Wow.
So it's, it's whatever.
I thought it was interesting when she got to the shelter didn't know what to make of her because she was
educated,
somewhat affluent, right?
Yeah.
She didn't need food stamps, she didn't need job assistance, she didn't need, all of this extra stuff. Like, she had a career and could take care of herself. She was just in a bad situation. They were like, well, I guess we can't help you, but you could stay here.
Right.
I had to walk away from. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Is that the typical demographic of a domestic violence victim, that they're just low income, like just poor?
Right.
I don't think it's necessarily low income, but a lot of times, because domestic violence is about control, the women don't have control of finances.
Right.
Or a job. Or
That's a term now. They call it financial abuse.
Yeah.
Where they restrict so much that you can't get out and try to figure out what to do without them, because they're holding the purse string so much. But I walked away for a second, but I knew a lady who was, she's long not been with that man, but he was a police officer. So they would protect him. And he had beat her so bad one time, and she was, I guess, trying to fight back or getting at him, and she keyed his unit, his police unit. And they arrested her for criminal destruction of property.
Oh, wow. They weren't going to arrest him. They weren't going to arrest him.
No, they weren't going to arrest him. They were protecting their boy and arrested her. And I remember that girl, all her knuckles the skin was gone from him dragging her and her trying to, but she got arrested that night.
Oh. What an awful human being that person who arrested her is. Like, you know what's going on. Even if my own sister was doing something so awful to somebody, like, I can't help you. Like, stop that. That's awful.
For those that were asking, it's on Netflix and it's called Victim/Suspect.
Yeah.
And it's an hour and 35-minute like movie, but a documentary that just came out this year. Police receive a sexual assault report and make an arrest on the person who was abused. This documentary follows a journalist's startling discovery. So yeah, it's one journalist who's looking into multiple stories of the victim being arrested. Most of them rape cases.
Yep.
Did anybody
Say the
hope
title
when the
again,
grandmother
please?
came, she was gonna notice?
It's called Vic. I'll write it in the chat too. It's victim/suspect.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And it's quick. It's an hour and 30 minutes. Like you can watch it in one sitting. Wow, time has really flown on this one.
So the transcript, it was tough, but I really liked that it was in there. The transcript honestly is what made me round up to a 5 because I was gonna go with a 4. I did like, I appreciated the back and forth of the story because I was like, okay, she's telling this so well. And when we got to the transcript, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? But it also reminded me, I told some of you already, I have a cousin or had a cousin named Natasha who lived in Atlanta, and her husband killed her kind of like in a kind of similar way. So for some dumb reason, I went and started looking for the article to get the details because I think this happened in about 2016, 2017. And he had the kids, they had 3 kids. I think he had 2 of them for the weekend. She and the 17-year-old daughter were going to his apartment to take medicine to one of the kids. He comes outside, gets her to get out of the car to talk to him, and he shoots her. Like with the 17-year-old right there in the car next to him. And he shot her twice while she's laying on the ground. He shoots her again. Then he goes into the apartment for whatever reason. I think the 17-year-old, I guess, called the police then or whatever. He comes back out with another gun, shoots her in the head, and puts the gun in her hand and says, she had a gun on me. And that's why she let me go back in to tuck the babies in, to tuck the 2 kids in. And when I came back out, she was still pointing the gun at me. So I shot her to keep her from shooting me. Really?
Wow.
Really? He did get life. He's still in there. I really went down a rabbit hole to find him. Exactly. Premeditated.
Yeah, he planned that. That's a
Yeah. I don't know if there was abuse before that. They were separated. And I think he said something to her about, I didn't want to get divorced or something like that, and shot her. And unfortunately, that 17-year-old has passed away since then.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how the youngest 2 are doing. I haven't spoken to, my great aunt passed away a couple of years ago after that. So, and the last time I saw my great uncle was at another funeral. So I didn't want to ask him,
Yeah, about what was happening. I can only imagine what those kids are going through. You've lost a sibling, a mom, and a dad who's in jail for life. Like, it's terrible.
It's
Boy.
real. It's real. I mean,
That's why I'm like, you don't have to love me to death. As a matter of fact, if you're
I
crazy, you
said
don't
it
love
all
me
the
at
time.
all. Don't even do it.
Right.
Yep. If you can't live without me, go right on here. You go ahead.
Right. Don't take me. You just take yourself.
No, yeah, the weekend of my, I think it was the weekend of my
Wasn't he
20th.
saying something to her like, oh, once he kills her, maybe they'll meet up in the afterlife? Like some crazy nonsense.
They'd be
Like,
together. Yeah,
sure.
they'd be together.
Yeah, he was supposed to kill himself too so they could be together.
That's how they would be together. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Because she said something about like, I can't even, he said, will we get back together? She said, I can't even entertain that right now. And then he was like, well, if we die, then we're both there together. I'm like, nigga, to death, like you're done. Like,
yeah.
But Topeka, just like you said, I had a classmate whose husband killed her the weekend of our 10-year high school reunion and claimed that she committed suicide.
Wow.
And he drove trucks all weekend and came home and found her.
Oh, wow.
And
People,
he left
I
us.
just
They
left
get
it,
really elaborate with these.
They
They
get
like set
elaborate
up these
with it.
whole
Yep.
scenarios like it's a movie. Like,
And I remember us being at the reunion, like, well, where is she? She said she was coming, and we didn't have a clue. She was gone. But it was that he didn't want her to come home. He was like that, but that's what I heard, that he was adamant that she wasn't going to this reunion.
Oh my God.
And he meant it.
Okay.
wow.
He meant it.
Oh boy. That's
Watch
crazy.
the red flags, y'all. Watch the red flags. They're out there.
Mm,
They're there. We just have to be more diligent about it.
yeah.
That is a good story for her to put out there, though, for people that
Mhm.
have gone through it or are going through it. It's a tough read because even with me never having experienced that myself, it's heavy, but it's a good read, and it's good to have that story out there to help
Mm-hmm.
or going through it or have gone through it, or somebody else that's entering into that or may eventually go into that.
You know,
It's good to
what's
have-
interesting about this story is, obviously I knew the description just from having read it, from selecting it as a book club selection, but I honestly thought that the book was going to start off with this murder and then follow her life, how it happened, or maybe she would go back in time and retrace the steps and how it happened. But I really thought that it was going to be because they give you that, right? On the back of the book, when you read the description, they give you that the murder is going to happen. So I really thought that was going to come at the beginning and then like lead us into other things. But I was actually kind of shocked that it was like one of the last things, like we get the details of the murder at the end of the book after we've learned like what life was like, how she grew up, what she went through, and then it was like, okay, boom, this happened.
I feel like maybe it's like that because she got so much information at the end, or when she decided to actually try to read about what actually happened. Like she was going through her life not knowing all the facts.
That's true.
But she
And
just
that-
opened the briefcase, and then that guy that saw her at a bar or a restaurant or something.
That was how coincident.
that was that act of bait,
the
man. I was like, how cool is that the anniversary's coming up, they're about to like discard all of these documents, and she just happens to run into this guy on
And
a
he
whim.
recognizes her after all these years.
I was surprised at that. Like, how did he? I mean, yeah, that was crazy. But I feel like it was just written. You found out what she found out. Yeah, like it was like this happened, and then she knew what she knew from the scant police reports at that point, I guess.
Because what was it? The 20th or the 30th anniversary?
20th, I believe.
But yeah,
I guess it would have to be if the 80s. Yeah.
And then I'm wondering,
later, she was just finding out.
Did they redact? Because the way she kind of set it up, it was kind of like, on the side, I'm gonna bring you all of this stuff, which I'm sure you can sign releases and all of that. But would you get everything like that if you were to go through the normal process of like a public?
But if he was keeping the stuff like that, was he a detective? And what I forget what he
was a police officer.
Oh, he was a police? I thought
he was the first
attorney's
police officer on the
scene. That's right. That's
But
right.
he was an assistant, DA or something now.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah, but he was a police officer at the time.
I'm thinking she got more than she would have gotten.
Exactly.
She would have done
exactly, because he seemed to have taken it personal. So he was like, that case kind of overtook his life too, from the way his wife was talking about it. So she did get what if she had gone to the police station, she wouldn't have gotten what she needed.
Right.
So I think that guy had real information and not like redacted and, whatever.
It's interesting that she's telling her life story basically in 2 memoirs. If she does go through with the memoir that's
for the father,
focused on her dad. I recently read Goldie Taylor's memoir too, and it was very focused on. I was ready to hear her entire life story, but more and more you're getting. I guess people are doing memoirs where it's like, I'm telling this period of time because this is what impacted my life the most. So yeah, I find that to be kind of interesting.
I'm kind of.
I know that's the difference between a memoir and an autobiography.
This story needed to be, I feel like, by itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah.
Like if she had been going back and forth between like whatever's going on with her dad and then all the stuff going on with her mom and then the murder
Oh,
and
yeah, it
everything,
might have
like
been
it
a
just would
lot.
have been too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like this is way too much. So I get, and that's probably was too much for her to like concentrate on at one time. Like the finding all that information 20 years later was probably difficult. Like, because she had never even really tried to investigate until then.
And she
So
said she forgot a lot of things, just a lot of things about her mother and a lot of things about her childhood. Like she just forgot. So
like her mom's voice, like she
yeah,
there was a tape in there or something.
yeah, she found a tape with her mother's voice.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? I know this discussion was a good one, and time flew today.
Yeah, we actually talked about the book the whole time.
I know. Like normally it's like the first 15 minutes, and then we're moving on to TV shows and books we're reading. Speaking of that, so I just finished Parable of the Sower today. Gotta hit my Kindle badges. So I hit that today. So I'm gonna start The Perfect Find tomorrow because I don't have any more in me to read. I need to, for those of you that watch Vanderpump Rules, we gotta watch part 3 of the reunion in a bit. And college softball starts right now. Anyways, all that to say, I know some of y'all had interest in doing a watch party for The Perfect Find. So I think it comes out on the 23rd. I think it's the 23rd of this month, that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
So did I put 7 or 8 p.m.? Do y'all remember the time? I don't know.
No, I don't remember.
What works better for y'all?
You said 8.
8? Because I figured
Wait,
that
what
everybody
day is
would
it?
be
It's gonna be
settled
the
from work.
23rd?
The 23rd is a Friday night. It comes out that day.
Oh, perfect.
I'm gonna put it in the calendar and stuff. Life is so busy right now. I can't
I
even
mean, it's
keep
not
up
to
with
say you
what's
can't
happening the
change it
next
to
hour.
7.
What'd you say?
That's not to say you can't change it to 7. I just put it in my calendar or else it won't happen.
No, it's fine. I'm about to put a invite out there. I just forgot to. Life has been busy. There's something else I wanted to do a watch party for, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, I think it's gonna be July's book club read, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. I'm not ready to disclose what it is yet. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do another one, but I'll definitely do one because I think this will be a good one. I don't know, is it a series or a movie? The
It's a
Perfect Find
movie.
movie, so we can watch it in one sitting. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a watch party because softball season will be over by then, so I'll have time. So I'll put that in the group probably today, tomorrow, so that we can plan to watch that because we love our watch parties.
Yes, we do.
Must have Netflix to watch, but I'll put the instructions in the group. But our watch parties are always fun. We enjoyed The Color Purple a couple months ago. That was fun. Yeah, so that's it.
Laptop, right?
What'd you say?
Netflix and a laptop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I usually just have like the laptop on my lap, but I'm watching it on Netflix. Like I set it to go at the same time so that I can see it on my TV.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, just so I can chat with y'all and like have conversations. So I'm usually doing both simultaneously, but yes, you must have a laptop to be able to access the chat function of it. But I'll put the instructions in the invite or whatever on how to get teleparty, I think it's called, how to set that up on your computer. And I think that'll be a fun one to kind of critique because I know we're all looking forward to it. We read that one as a book club years ago. So I'm about to do a reread. I need something light after Memorial Drive and Octavia Butler.
Definitely.
That one was something else too. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't, I don't know. It was good. I gave it a 4-star, but it was kind of slow for me at first, like starting off. I was like, what is happening right now? But yeah.
I read it years ago. I might need to reread it again.
Which one? Perfect Find? Or
Parable of the Sower.
Yeah, Parable of the Sower, I guess because it's reflective of like where we are in life now. It's very
spooky how forward looking
more
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the strange part. It's like, how did she know?
Yeah, that's why I was intrigued to read it because a lot of people were like, "Oh, y'all need to read it because it's very like similar to current times." So yeah, Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler.
That's on my TBR along with hundreds of other books.
I had to hit
Parable of
that.
a
I had to
Sower.
hit that sci-fi Kindle bookmark. I had to get that challenge, so that's what I chose for that.
I read Parable of a Sower and I was very creeped out by it because I said, wait, when did she write this book?
Right.
I was so
Forever
parallel
ago,
to
and
what's
she was spot on.
happening. Now I was like, nope. It creeped me out, but she's very spot on.
I'm doing Brown Girl in the Ring for that challenge.
I kind of cheated.
Scrap did it. Huh?
I kind of cheated for the book to movie or book to screen one.
We all
I
did.
picked.
No, we all didn't. No.
I picked that.
I did not.
I picked that Zootopia book that was on there. I bought it for like $1.99, $2.99. It literally took me 5 seconds to read, but I sure enough got that bookmark for that because I was like, I just reread The Color Purple, and any of the books of interest that I've already read them, and so I'm like, they're not necessarily Color Purple. I might have reread, but we just did it I did it as a reread months ago. So I'm like, I'm not. So I just paid $2.99 for the stupid book and read it in 5 seconds. So
Get him,
that.
Keela. Tell her
That's
to
right.
shame the devil, Keela.
That's
We
right.
read our book.
We read our book, a whole book.
I read mine too.
You working
You
smart
did.
over here.
I read mine too. It just took 2 minutes.
I read The Giver
It was
because I hadn't
on
read
the
that
list
before.
of books that qualified
It was
for
indeed
the challenge.
on the list.
So
What challenge are y'all talking about?
So if you go to you have to do it from your phone, but if you go to your phone on the Kindle app, there is like a challenge. So they do like these quarterly challenges, like they keep track of, it's hard to see on my phone, but they have like these reading streaks and like these Kindle challenges. So you get these achievements each month. You get, every time you hit an achievement, you get like a bookmark.
But you have to read the book through Kindle?
Say that again?
You have to read the book through Kindle. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kindle.
So that you get credit for reading from your Kindle daily. Like there's just different prompts. And so one of the prompts was to read a sci-fi book, and the other one was read a book to screen challenge. And so again, all of the books that I would want to read, I've either already read or don't want to read it for a second time. So I was like, bump it. I'm about to go get this Zootopia book and we gonna call it a day.
It's a day and it's done. I really think they felt bad for that one that was like, oh, read 8 books between now and June. So they tried to give us some easy ones.
Yeah, the weekend.
The one. That's why you had Zootopia as an option because they did us so bad with that. Well, I thought it was bad.
Well, that's why I gave y'all those short stories so you can get the 8 books because you can listen to them. And they're like less than an hour.
Let me check because I should have hit that.
I ain't nowhere near it. I just got my 3rd bookmark in the one section where it's like 1 book, 2 books, 3 books.
Which bookmark was that for the 8 books?
It was early. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was the first one for the first or second
Overachiever.
The mystery reveals.
Overachiever.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I got it.
I just got that one this week.
Yeah, but I'm wondering how many. I think I might have just hit 8 with Parable of the Sower. Maybe. I don't know. I have it
it's
now.
called Overachiever. Yeah. If you click on it, it'll tell you what date you achieved it.
The 29th.
Yeah.
Which would have, so it was the last book I read then, which would have been what did I read? Now I don't know. I'll find it.
So we don't get another
it must have been Is Memorial Drive. I think I finished that on the 29th.
Okay.
We don't get another one until the 15th.
And it better be something easy.
One.
This one was crazy. This one had a bunch of crazy stuff in it.
Which one was that?
This whole challenge. They just had a
Oh.
bunch of crazy stuff in it.
So what's everybody reading now?
I'm gonna start The Perfect Find tomorrow.
Well, I'm reading The Housemaid, but I got the wrong book.
I saw that
I hope you
yesterday.
returned it.
And it has the eye and everything with the peephole. So I'm like, this is the right book. And then I'm like, I'm looking for like the second book. And I'm like, I'm typing it. I can't find it. I'm like, I'm going on the library app. I went to the library. I'm like, why can't I find it? And then I realized it's the wrong author.
How far did you get in the book?
I'm almost done. I got like an hour left, but it's good though. And then
I
I'm
would have
doing
returned that
probably
sucker.
I'm like, what is going on here? And even my daughter looked and I was like, look, Nia. And she was like, it looks like the same book. The person with the eye with the keyhole. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but it's okay. I'm like, it's just, another book that I read. So it's good.
I just started today, right before book club, Where the Wild Peaches Grow. I think Keela.
Is that good? Because it's in my library.
I literally just started 10 minutes before.
No, I don't have. Is that one of the monthly picks that we picked?
It was because I had.
You know, I don't be reading the monthly picks. I just be picking. I'm reading one before the year is out.
Same. I'm gonna be on a Donna Hill kick this month, I guess. I'm reading her latest release.
I just finished that I Am Aya.
Was it good?
Did you like it? I'm like 13% in.
I loved it.
The only thing I've read by her was that one Christmas book that she did with that we picked like 2 years ago, I guess it was.
I used to read all her stuff back in the day.
Yeah, me too, back in the day.
So this will be my first solo novel of hers that I've read. But this is supposed to be being adapted into a TV show or series or something. So it's a good way to plug that this is our June book of the month. Confessions in B Flats by Donna Hill.
You started what, Kim?
Kenneth Ryan's book.
Which one?
My Soul to Keep.
I read Real a couple last month.
I'm sorry, what was it?
I think that book was free recently, wasn't it? Yes, because I had it.
Did I buy it today? It was on sale.
Oh, dang, girl, she just had it for free like last week, I think.
I missed it, but it was like, it was less than $5.
Yeah, it was cheap. It was inexpensive.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But I didn't realize it was just released like last month. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she had several books that were like free or something about a week or so.
Yeah, I got some today for like $2.
I need y'all to let us know when that happens. Thanks.
What you have to do is put your stuff in your Audible cart. No, put it in your wish list.
And then it tells you, it notifies
and
you.
It's like something on your wish list is on sale.
Yeah. Okay.
Good
to know.
It's like 80.
I don't need to know that.
A lot of things.
Yeah. So
I saw the Audible sale for 85% off.
Yes, but it tells you like, hey, these books on your wish list. That's what you got to do. Like every time I want a book, I go over there and put it in there, and then it just tells me when it's $1, $2, whatever.
I need to do that more.
Because they let you.
I got that email about, I have the 85% off email, and I get the email about something in your wish list is on sale. But then there are a couple of books that I want that I actually have the ebook as well. And I don't want to pay for the audio. I just want it to be on Scribed or at the library without a 25%.
Sometimes you could do the Whisper Sync if you did it on, if you bought the book like Kindle.
Yeah, these are still charging for the book with Whisper.
I mean, you still gotta pay, but it's like $7.
It's less.
Yeah, it's less.
I've done that on some. I've done that on some books. It's just been the last few weeks I've been like, I don't know if I want to own that one. I just want to listen to the ebook. I don't want to.
I've been utilizing
Limited. You check them out and you just
Libby a lot lately. I don't know. Some of y'all, Keela, y'all encouraged me to use it more, especially for these Kindle challenges. Like I've been
Tuesday,
utilizing it
I'm
a
on
lot.
there for the new releases.
I did that this week and missed by a couple of hours on what came out. Oh, S.A. Cosby's book, but it's on.
My only problem is like they all become available
at the same time.
But I do like the new option of like you can postpone it.
Yeah.
You pick how long you wanna. So I just keep like Confessions in B Flat, I think came available like yesterday or today or something, and I was like, nah, I don't like to read it till the end of the month, so I pushed it back a couple weeks.
But that's on
Hoopla, thank goodness. For me, it's on Hulu.
I can't get Hoopla. Like for Gwinnett County, I can't.
Oh no. That
Yeah.
sucks. 'Cause
I know. I
yeah.
can't get it, so I have to use Libby. That's my only
'Cause that's my go-to when the library, when Libby has the ebook, usually Hoopla has the audiobook. So
audio.
I'm using all the apps because
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
You guys, do
all
you
the
ladies
apps.
really like the audiobooks? I've never done an audiobook, and I'm like, I just feel like it would just be weird.
I do them
I used to feel
simultaneously.
the same way, but
Me
then
too.
I totally switched.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm listening
And
to y'all talk about the
if it's a
Kindle app.
memoir, I prefer that.
Yeah, especially
they
if the
tell story.
person, yeah.
Is reading. And this one
Yep.
was the one we just did.
It was her.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
The audio.
Yep.
I agree. It took me years to get into an audiobook. I found that I like nonfiction for audio.
I think that's great.
Fiction is a little weird. They do different voices. I do it sometimes if I like need to read it in a rush. But nonfiction is good audio as an audiobook for sure.
Okay.
And you just have to find your favorite narrators because once you
Yeah.
get them, like
I just need a book where like Morgan Freeman is narrating or something. Like I need a nice, powerful voice, you know?
All of S.A. Cosby's books are
good ones,
narrated by Adam
Papa Pope from Scandal. He does some. He narrates some books.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he narrated The Water Dancer, and that's the only time I finished that book because I didn't really love The Water Dancer, but I was hanging in there for him because Papa Pope was telling the story.
Yep,
like he's acting it out.
Oh, he narrates that book. Okay, I was trying to figure out who.
You were saying. I also like YA books. YA books on Audible, I like more than actually reading them. It's I don't know. I feel like I don't know what it is, but yeah, I like YA books on Audible more.
Me
like
too.
I'm reading Shirley Rouse's book now, and she's narrating it, so you know she's just telling that.
That's
yes. Oh, I need to get
So,
that.
I just started today. It's on sale. I got it on sale today.
The Audible?
Because it was in my wish list.
Let me go to Audible.
Right.
I think I got a couple of credits too.
Oh, I'm down to 3. I don't know.
I'm saying it's on the 85% off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going right now.
Yeah.
I still have 7 credits, and I'm like, I don't want to use them because they end.
I'm about to cancel Audible.
I want to save them till like.
They gotta be worth it. They gotta be worth it.
I'm so jealous, Tamika. I don't know how I'm only down to 3. I'm like, I've been kicking in Libby's to kind of help out, but
See, y'all catch Libby before I do. Libby, I have to catch with like older books.
Yes, you can get them right away.
I have 4 Audible credits right now, and I think I'm about to drop down to the $7 version of Audible, just because I've been getting so much on Libby that I'm
utilizing it.
Yeah.
Doing that dance. So, do I use a credit or do I just wait for it to become available on Libby?
But are y'all on Scribd? Because
yes,
I used.
That's where S.A. Cosby's new.
I have it too. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were saying about Confessions in B flat. It's on there.
Oh, good. Sometimes I use that as my last resort to check.
See, I go there first because that's the unlimited. That's a book.
Right, since we paying for it.
Exactly. I go there first. So I don't have to use my Audible credits that often, and then I catch the sales. So I don't mind paying $2.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Same. I'll do that too.
I go to Scribd or Scribe or whatever it is. I go there first because I pay. And my Audible, I did this annual thing that they did, I guess maybe in December or somewhere, where they had a deal where you get all your credits up front for some reduced amount.
Discounted price, yeah.
Well, I did that. And that's how I ended up with that's why I still have 7. But now I'm trying to hoard my 7.
Family started giving me Audible credits, which is great. I love it. So I can bank them.
I did have Confessions in B flat marked off on Scribd. It was the ebook, I think, that I am getting from Libby because they don't have it there.
Okay.
So I pushed it back a couple weeks so that I would have it in time for book club. But yeah.
Y'all, I am listening to Ice-T's book with this other guy that he used to be crime partners with.
Does he narrate it?
They both do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they alternate chapters. It's been pretty good. It's like they're sitting here talking to you.
Yeah. I like those. I kind of like the back and forth books if it's two people I'm really like interested in. Like Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis have a book that they narrate together.
Oh,
So
wow.
good.
Write that down.
What is it?
Ruby Dee, I think it's called In This Thing Together or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where they basically talk about their lives and their marriage and their just everything, but it's back and forth. Like he tells his side, she tells her side. They just tell their story together. And it's not that the book is amazing.
It's their voice.
It's them.
They have the most beautiful voices.
Yes, it is them. It is all
Yep.
them. I was like, I could listen to you guys all
I'm
day.
on stage and his wife's book is back and forth like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did
I
that
basically
one.
laughed through that whole book.
I did that one. I did that one.
They are so silly, both of them.
The bud.
Yeah, that was I feel like if I hadn't done that Audible, like you get more with the Audible version.
Yeah.
Than you would if you were reading it.
And I don't like for people to read to me. So that was my holdup on trying Audible and audiobooks. And once I tried it for like memoirs, I was like, okay, this is my thing, especially if they narrate it.
They tell the story.
And I said, well, I'll try a fiction. And I actually enjoy those too, as long as the
narrator's good. Yeah. Because there's some bad ones. And then I just have to abort the mission. And
the guy from Living Single is my dude. Adam, what's his name? LaVere White.
Oh, from Cosby's book.
Oh,
yeah.
He does all of Esther Cosby's books. And he did another book that I listened to recently. So I was very pleasantly surprised when he started talking.
So the other night I was listening to
get into it.
LeVar Burton reads stories. This was on Scribd, where it was one of Toni Morrison's book and LeVar Burton reads it. And I've read the book, but I was like, I'm about to do Reading Rainbow right quick. Because it's LeVar Burton. Like,
exactly.
Fun. This should be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna check that out this week, probably.
I never did get my hoodie.
All right, y'all. I gotta go tend to a sick child, so
feel
I've
better,
gotta let y'all go.
10.
Thank you. I don't know. It's either the combination. She has a headache from getting braids today, and then I don't know. She ate Chick-fil-A right before we went to practice, like 30 minutes, but I've never seen her sick after eating food, that closely. It's not like she was running or anything like that. So I don't know. But she was in tears on the way home. So she's probably asleep upstairs in my bed, but I'm gonna go check on her. But thank you. But no, awesome book club chat tonight. Appreciate y'all popping on, and good to see your faces. And we have Confessions in B flat a month from now, and we'll see you then. And I'll make the invite tonight for the watch party for The Perfect Find.
Okay.
So look out for that.
Good night,
All right, y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.